Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ahkam SOS, the show that discusses Islamic duties and practices. A big salam to all our viewers, all our brothers and sisters here on this lovely, fine, hot day here in London. MashaAllah, we are coming towards the end of our Ramadan. Only 2 or 3 days left now. Inshallah, in these final days, I advise all the brothers and sisters to really focus on strengthening your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also on learning, if you can, learning different surah, learning histories, learning all forms of Islamic sciences, and also, most importantly, learning Ahkam. And we are here, myself, Mohsin Shah, and also Sheikh Ali Maas, to teach you guys Ahkam here on Ahkam SOS, inshallah. So let me welcome our guest, who's always with me, Sheikh Ali Maas. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikhna.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
How are you this evening?
Alhamdulillah. Taqabballahu a'malakum.
ومنا ومنكم inshallah, Sheikhna. Not long to go, not long, just a couple of days left. So, Sheikhna, we've been talking mainly about Zakat Al-Fitrah, and we've been discussing different elements of giving this zakat. Let us continue our discussion. And the first question that I have is, what is the best time to give Zakat Al-Fitrah?
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. The one who wishes to pay Zakat Al-Fitrah, of course, if he wants to perform the Salat Al-Eid initially, he's got the intention of going to the mosque, for example, or even at his own home to perform Salat Al-Eid, then as a mustahab precaution, for the one to give the Zakat Al-Fitrah to the poor before the Eid prayer. So that's the timing. Before Eid prayer, you pay the Zakat and then you go and you perform your Salat Eid.
Okay.
Which is in the morning, in overall. After the sunrise, of course. However, if one who do not wish to perform Salat Eid, they just want to stay at home and do not actually perform Salat Eid, then it is permissible for them to delay the Zakat Al-Fitrah till noon time, just before Adhan al-Dhuhr. That's their basically the maximum or the allowed time in which they can not give the Zakat Al-Fitrah. But by the noon they should have been given the Zakat Al-Fitrah by that time, if they don't want to pray the Eid prayer. If they want to pray, they pay and then they pray. If they don't want to pray, then they can wait till noontime and they pay just before or by the noontime.
I see. Ahsan. Sheikh, if an individual gave his Zakat Al-Fitrah to a woman in which her husband is disabled, now let's say that the husband, husband's disabled, and he gets financial support from charities and so forth, and it's not enough what he's getting, is the wife allowed to receive Zakat Al-Fitrah?
Yes, it is permissible, because at the end of the day, the zakat is there for those who are in need. And I think we had one of the episodes spoke about the 8 categories in which the zakat will be paid to. So one of them was the poor and the destitute. So they have the right to receive zakat. Zakat is for them, for those poor people who are in need. They don't have enough income during the annual of their expenditures and spending. So yes, they have the right to receive Zakat Al-Fitrah on such, based on such cases, of course.
Sheikh, right now we are still going through the quarantine and the lockdown due to COVID-19. So a lot of people find it difficult to go to the bank. Most banks are closed or they have restricted timings. So with the outbreak of the virus, if the banks are closed, and people don't have access to money, can we delay the zakat payment?
Well, those who on the day of the Eid have no access to the bank, now let's say because it's been shut for any reason, or they might be elderly, they can't go out with such a situation, out in the streets. They don't get mixed with anybody and be away and isolated from the people, from the public. Nobody's there to go and help them to withdraw cash, for example, from the bank and so forth. If they can actually borrow money and pay, that's fine. They have to borrow money and pay Zakat Al-Fitrah, and then they can basically pay back the money afterwards. If they can't, then they can actually delay its payment until they have access to the money in which they can withdraw and pay for the Zakat al-Fitr.
Sheikh, when it comes to Zakat Al-Fitrah, who has the priority when giving it?
In terms of the priorities for those who should, firstly give Zakat Al-Fitr to, it's mustahab to give to one's poor relatives. That's the first one. Mm-hmm. If you have uncle, cousins, I don't know, relatives who you can actually, you think that they are in need and they need your support, then of course the Zakat will be given first to them. The second option is to give to the poor neighbors. You have neighbors who are fuqara, they are in need, you pay them the Zakat Al-Fitr to them. And then to the ulama, to, let's say, the house students, for example, to the ulama who are in need. Of course, many of them in Najaf, in Karbala, and Qom, who are in desperate need. Some of them, they left their belongings, their dwellings. Sometimes some of them, I know that they left their business, they closed their shop, and they went to study with a small income from the house just to feed them and clothe them. So yes, in this case, they have the priority to receive the zakat in such the stage that I've given. There might be, it depends. You have to see your list of priorities. Sometimes there's a higher priority. Let's say you have a friend who was a convert to Islam or to the Tashayyu' of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, and he was kicked out of his house because he became Muslim or became Shia of Ahl al-Bayt. Now he's a homeless person, jobless. He's got nothing to eat or drink or to sleep somewhere. So of course, he might be or she might be your highest priority to help this individual and to give the Zakat Al-Fitrah to them, of course.
Sheikh, is it allowed to give Zakat Al-Fitrah before the Eid prayer to the poor with the intention of a loan and not Fitrah?
Yes, as discussed, that many of the ulama see that if you give the Zakat Al-Fitrah before the Eid Eve or the day, then you give it with the intention of loan. And then when it's the Eid Eve or the Eid day where due payment comes, then it becomes with the intention of Zakat Al-Fitrah.
Oh, I see, Hassan. Just a quick reminder to all our viewers that this is a live show and that you can send in your questions via the WhatsApp, email, or alternatively you could call us. The number should be there. And me and the Sheikh will be more than happy to discuss your question, inshallah. Sheikh, if one sets the fitrah aside from his money, is it permissible for him to use the money for other purpose than zakat?
No, it is not permissible for him to use this money or replace it with another money. This zakat is not become the ayn. This should be delivered to the poor, the destitutes, and those who are in need of this zakat by the Eid or by the day of the Eid, in which the zakat becomes obligatory in this case to be paid to the poor. So no, you can't use. You have to leave this money until it's paid to the right individuals.
Sheikh, can one perform Eid prayers, Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, at home by himself, or must he recite the prayer in congregation at the mosque? And I believe His Eminence Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani Hafidullah, he has a fatwa on this. What does he say?
His Eminence would say that there's no problem in reciting the Salat al-Eid prayer by yourself alone or farada, as he mentions. That should be fine as long as you perform the salah and you get inshallah the reward, even if you pray it at home, especially with the situations now that the mosques are closed, the centers are closed, there's no jama'ah salah, then of course the one can pray at home. The one can actually set up with his family jama'ah salah. That's possibility is available for those who are able to pray and become the imam jama'ah. They can actually do this and pray Salat al-Eid, and you can play actually the dua of the qunut of the Eid from your mobile phone, and while you're reciting the salah and the qunuts, you just put and listen to the
Okay, the dua.
The recitation of the dua from your mobile phone, for example, and you follow up with the dua.
Yeah, you recite behind it.
Or you can actually write it down and you read it from the paper or from your mobile phone.
Ahsant, inshallah. And we encourage all the viewers, inshallah, to have their own jama'ah at home and to please, recite the Eid prayer. Sheikh, a question that's come in from the WhatsApp, and this is from someone who's saying that I am a muqallid of Ayatollah Sheikh Wahid Khorasani, and I would like to know that is it permissible to swim while one fasts during the month of Ramadan? Swimming, Sheikhna, being number one, I believe it's mustahab, very encouraged by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to swim. It's a great form of exercise. So during Ramadan, should we give up swimming or are we allowed to swim?
Well, according to Ayatollah Khorasani, who would mention that immersing the entire head inside the water invalidate the fast. So the one cannot actually swim in this way and immerse his entire head inside the water. So it's better to avoid. I mean, we usually avoid swimming in the freezing cold weather. And most of us want to go to the swimming pools or the place of swimming in which if it's cold and freezing weather, just to avoid catching cold when we leave the swimming pool. I think let's have some respect for this holy month of Ramadan, and one of the desires, interests and requirements of this month, let's also avoid it for the purpose of this holy month. And inshallah, after Eid, you are happy and enjoy yourself, in terms of swimming and going outdoors and so forth. So let's observe patience in this holy month, and inshallah afterwards we have the freedom and enjoying ourselves, of course, in the halal way.
Ahsant. Sheikh, another question from the WhatsApp. If one is unable to perform ghusl and is required to do a number of ghusls, does he need to perform tayammum as well? So I guess what they're saying is if we perform tayammum for ghusl, but the person needs to perform ghusl for more than one issue, will one tayammum suffice for all of them, or does he have to do a separate tayammum for all the separate occasions the person has lost his tahara or her tahara?
You see, for both cases, if you have many ghusl wajib at the same time, and you also have, well, not tayammum, but for the first place, many ghusl wajib, you can do just one ghusl, and that will suffice the rest of the aghsal al-wajibah. Let's say somebody touched a cold body of a deceased person, and he had janaba, for example. In this case, one ghusl would suffice this individual as a ghusl wajib, of course. And likewise, the tayammum, the one can do one tayammum on behalf of these aghsal of wajibah, because there's no water, the time is too short, and so forth. Whatever is the reason that this individual is using tayammum instead of ghusl, he's using the earth instead of water to actually purify himself or herself. So yes, one tayammum would be suffice and would be enough for the instead of the multiple of aghsal wajib.
Sheikh, when it comes to performing wudu, and I know this happens to a lot of us brothers and sisters as well, is that when we're performing wudu, we do the niyyah, we wash the face, the arms, and then when it comes to going to the feet, sometimes there's droplets of water on the feet already. Now, they may have come from our face, from our bed, our arms, our hands. Are we supposed to dry our feet and then do the mas'ah, or can we just go over it with our wet hands? It's okay, it's not a problem.
Well, the precaution dictates that they should be dried. The feet should be dried. Even the head, if you want to wipe your head, it should be dried. But if there's a small amount of moisture on the head or the feet, and you want to wipe on it, and the moisture which is on your hand is more than the moisture on your head or on your feet, then that should be fine. There shouldn't be an issue. What is important that it shouldn't be your head or your both feet If they are wet enough, then you have to dry them up and then wipe on them with your hand. Most importantly, the hand should be wet enough to wipe on these locations.
Yes, yes. I mean, I remember reading in the books, they always say that the water has to kind of like be overpowering and be able to like, really submerge, well, not the word submerge, but really wetten the skin more than it's already wet and to overpower and overcome the water that's already there. It can be difficult if there's too much water on your feet already, so it's best to dry it beforehand. Sheikh, what is the ruling for the case if one performs the salah, say Fajr salah, in place where the dawn has commenced and then travels to a place where the dawn has not commenced yet?
One should perform the salah again as a precaution, because you're actually entering into, again, a location in which the dawn is now has been set. You have to actually, as a precaution, redo your salah again. And of course, the same applies to other salawat in the Maghrib, Isha, Dhuhr and Asr, especially if somebody flies from, I think, from the east to the west side, it's opposite the Earth's movement, in which you arrive, let's say if you leave at 11 in the morning, you would arrive, let's say, in early morning in that location. So it's like backwards. The time goes backwards. Yes, in this case, you may have to pray twice Salat al-Fajr in this case, as a precaution, of course.
I see. Shaykh, thank you so much for all your efforts and your research, and also for taking time out to answer these questions. Any final thing you'd like to say to the viewers before we sign off?
Basically, in the dua, we need to learn from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam the etiquette and the manner of dua, how to recite or how to start the dua. Of course, they gave us the best examples, the ad'iyah and the du'as and supplications of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Amir Mu'min Ali alayhi salam, and other alayhim salam, in which they taught us how to initiate the dua, in what form, in what manner. So we see that, for example, in Dua Nudbah, which is recited on the mornings of Fridays, that it begins with Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, and then the dua starts. Praises to Allah Azza wa Jal, the Lord of the world. Mm-hmm. In Dua Al-Fitrah, we read, Allahumma inni aftatuhu al-thana'a bihamdik. Oh Allah, I open the dua with your praises. When you want to invoke Allah Azza wa Jal, try to initially start with praising Allah Azza wa Jal. In Dua Al-Kumail, Allahumma inni as'aluka birahmatika allati wasa'at kull shay. We ask and beseech Allah with His mercy, with His vast rahmah. So this is how we have to initiate our ad'iyah. Instead of just jumping to the dua, oh Allah, give me money, give me such and such. We have to learn this etiquette of dua from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. And of course, one of the good ways and methods in which even we have some narrations with the Zakat narration that it says that if you want to read a dua, if there's a salawat in the beginning and at the end, Allah won't leave the middle of the dua of the hajjah. So the salah in the beginning and the salah at the end, ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad, that would actually in somehow guarantees the dua will be, inshallah, by the will of Allah, will be answered. So yes, we have to learn from Ahlul Bayt how to ask Allah Azza wa Jal and recite these ad'iyah, in which may Allah Azza wa Jal gives us the opportunity to gain these blessings from these ad'iyah. And of course, we have lots of ad'iyah and hawa'ij and needs for this dunya, and of course akhirah. We shouldn't forget the akhirah as well. And of course, the most important dua that we ask Allah to hasten the appearance of the Imam الزمان عجل الله فرجه الشريف اللهم عجل وليك الفرج.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Sheikh. Thank you to all of you for joining us. Inshallah, we'll be back tomorrow and the day after, and that will be it. Just 2 more episodes of Ahkam SOS before the end of Ramadan. Inshallah, join us for the last 2 discussions, and we'll be here on Imam Hussein TV 3, 6:30 from myself and from Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.